The grand conclave chamber of the Galactic Senate was not designed for silence. Its cyclopean architecture, a testament to countless millennia of interspecies cooperation and conflict, usually thrummed with a low, resonant hum of data streams, the gentle murmur of diplomatic exchanges, and the occasional booming pronouncements of a legislative debate. Yet on this cycle, a profound, unyielding stillness permeated the vast, crystalline space, broken only by the synchronized, almost imperceptible exhalations of the assembled representatives. The air, typically infused with the myriad subtle pheromones and atmospheric compounds of 1,000 species, felt thin, charged with a singular, pervasive anxiety. Ambassador Xylos, her iridescent, multifaceted eyes reflecting the chamber's somber light, felt the pressure in her intricate sensory organs, a physical manifestation of the galaxy's collective dread. Her species, the Zalari, were renowned for their empathic attunement, and the current emotional cacophony was almost unbearable. The issue before them was not a border dispute, nor a resource allocation crisis, nor even the threat of a localized war. It was something far more insidious, something that defied comprehension and threatened the very foundation of established galactic order, the disappearance of the Draconian Armada. Vorlag, the K-Arthar hegemony's primary emissary, a creature of hardened carapace and sharp, chitinous angles, shifted uneasily on his elevated plinth, the faint scraping of his articulated limbs a harsh counterpoint to the prevailing quiet. His species had long championed military might as the ultimate arbiter of truth, and the Draconian hegemony had been their closest ideological kin, though a rival in ambition. Draconian Armada, a force that had carved swathes through nascent star systems and subjugated countless civilizations, had simply ceased to exist. Their last known trajectory pointed directly towards a solitary, unremarkable yellow star in an obscure spiral arm, a system charted as Sol, home to a species designated as humanity, a species barely 200 cycles removed from planetary-bound existence, a species entirely unknown in the grand tapestry of galactic interaction. The facts presented with stark, unyielding clarity by the automated systems of the conclave were profoundly disturbing. A fleet of unprecedented scale, armed with devastating energy projectors and warp disruptors, had entered the Sol system. Then nothing. No distress signals, no energy flares, no debris fields, no lingering gravitational anomalies. Not a single particle remained to confirm their fate. They had simply vanished. The silence was the galaxy's scream. "The data is irrefutable," a modulated voice echoed through the chamber, belonging to the Orb Minister of Chronos, a sentient computational entity tasked with maintaining objective records. Its holographic avatar pulsed with neutral blue light. Sensor arrays, calibrated across multiple light-years, confirmed the Armada's entry into Sol. Subsequent scans, encompassing all known energy spectra and subspace distortions, reveal no trace. It is as if they were unwritten from the fabric of existence. The Orb Minister's voice, devoid of inflection, only heightened the chilling implications. For civilizations that had mastered interstellar travel, quantum communication, and energy manipulation, such an event was anathema. It was a violation of fundamental cosmic laws. Vorlag surged forward, his voice a guttural rumble that nonetheless carried authority. "This is an act of aggression beyond any precedent. This, humanity, has demonstrated a capability that defies logic, a threat that must be met with overwhelming force before it can spread its incomprehensible darkness across the stars." His appendages gesticulated wildly, conveying a primal fear, a species-deep terror of the unknown. "We must dispatch a punitive expedition, a force so immense that no planetary defense, no hidden technology, could possibly withstand it. We must sterilize Sol, eradicate this anomaly, and reclaim the safety of the galaxy." His words ignited a ripple of anxious murmurs through the chamber, a desperate plea for a tangible response to an intangible terror. Xylos felt a cold tremor pass through her. While Vorlag's instinct was rooted in the survival imperative, it was also short-sighted, a reaction born of fear, not wisdom. "Primary Emissary Vorlag, with respect," her voice, a gentle chime that carried surprising weight, cut through the rising clamor. "Your proposed solution is precisely what the Draconian hegemony attempted, and the outcome was silence. To repeat their error, with even greater force, without understanding the nature of this phenomenon, would be an act of galactic suicide. We know nothing of this humanity. We know only that a force capable of conquering entire sectors vanished within their system without a single detectable casualty to the perpetrator." without a single weapon discharge registered on our most sensitive instruments. She paused, allowing her words to settle, to resonate with the deeper, more profound anxieties of the assembled species. We do not understand how they vanished. Therefore, we cannot understand what we are fighting, or even if we are fighting. We are confronting the absolute unknown, and to confront the unknown with blind fury is to invite our own destruction. A representative from the ethereal lumina, a species of living light forms, coalesced slightly, its form shimmering in agreement. Ambassador Xylos speaks with clarity. Our records show no precursor civilizations possessing such a capacity. No natural cosmic phenomena are known to selectively eradicate organized sentient fleets without leaving behind gravitational echoes or exotic particle traces. This defies the very principles of space-time and matter-energy conversion as we comprehend them. The Lumina's voice was a soft, harmonic chorus, a stark contrast to Vorlag's rasp, yet equally imbued with a sense of profound unease. We must investigate. We must seek understanding before we unleash another wave of unknowing into that void. The debate raged for cycles, encompassing philosophical treatises on the nature of emergent intelligence, the responsibility of established civilizations, and the terrifying prospect of a truly alien form of power. The Grand Conclave, which had weathered countless galactic crises, found itself paralyzed by an event that shattered its collective cosmology. The Draconian hegemony, known for its swift, brutal expansion, its technologically superior warships, and its absolute certainty in its own might, had been projected to subjugate the nascent species of Sol within a matter of standard planetary rotations. Instead, they had become a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones across light years. The fear was palpable. If the Draconians could disappear, who was safe? What was humanity? A weapon, a trap. A fundamental force of the universe itself, made manifest. Xylos spent long solitary hours in her private contemplation chamber, the holographic star charts of the galaxy swirling around her, each point of light a civilization, a history, a future. Sol, however, remained a silent, ominous void. The Zalari, through their long history, had always sought equilibrium, understanding, and peaceful resolution. This current predicament challenged every tenet of their philosophy. To face an enemy one could not comprehend was to face an existential mirror, reflecting back the limits of one's own understanding. The Draconians, for all their power, had been predictable in their aggression. They followed known patterns of conquest. Humanity, in its silence, was an enigma that threatened to unravel the very fabric of galactic psychology. The sheer absence of information was a weapon more potent than any energy beam. It fueled speculation, paranoia, and a profound, paralyzing uncertainty. Ultimately, after intense deliberation and diplomatic maneuvering, a compromise was reached. Vorlag's cries for immediate, overwhelming force were tempered by Xylos's impassioned pleas for caution and the Lumina's insistence on scientific inquiry. A highly specialized, stealth-capable observation fleet, drawn from a coalition of the most scientifically advanced and diplomatically neutral species, would be dispatched to the Sol system. Its mission, to approach with extreme discretion, to observe, to analyze, and if possible, to establish a communication channel. Commander Jerk, a seasoned Zalari diplomat explorer with a reputation for calm under pressure, was chosen to lead the mission. His vessel, the Luminous Path, was an exemplar of Zalari engineering, designed for deep space exploration and discrete data acquisition, armed not with heavy weaponry but with an array of sophisticated sensors and advanced cloaking technology. His orders were absolute. Under no circumstances was he to initiate hostile contact or engage in any action that could be perceived as a threat. The fate of the galactic order, perhaps even its very existence, rested on his mission to the silent void of Sol. The journey to the Sol system was a meditation in apprehension. The Luminous Path, along with its small escort of allied scout vessels, traversed the vast emptiness between star systems, each light-year closer to their destination amplifying the weight of their objective. Commander Jerk, a creature of patience and meticulous observation, spent countless cycles reviewing all available data on Sol and its enigmatic inhabitants. What little was known about humanity painted a picture of a species defined by rapid technological advancement, internal strife, and a bewildering array of cultural expressions. They had risen from a single planet with astonishing speed, adapting to and mastering environments that would have challenged far older species. Yet, their galactic footprint remained infinitesimally small. They were a whisper in the cosmic roar. until the Draconian Armada's disappearance transformed them into a terrifying, silent roar of their own. As the luminous path entered the outer reaches of the Sol system, its advanced sensor suites, normally capable of detecting the most minute energy fluctuations across vast distances, registered an unprecedented quiet. The system was not silent in the absolute sense. There were planetary magnetic fields, stellar emissions, and the faint traces of natural cosmic phenomena. But there was a notable absence of the expected signatures of a technologically advanced civilization, particularly one that had just eradicated a formidable invasion force. No orbital defense platforms, no vast energy shields, no hyperdense asteroid fields meticulously re-engineered for warfare. The inner system, where Earth orbited its star, seemed remarkably serene. This lack of overt militarization, given the recent events, was profoundly unsettling. It defied all known strategic doctrines. "Commander, we are within optimal observation range," announced Lieutenant Vestra, the luminous path's primary sensor operator, her lumina form pulsating with a mixture of professional calm and underlying trepidation. "Gravitational readings are stable. No significant artificial anomalies detected. Visual spectrum shows 4 terrestrial worlds, multiple gas giants, and the expected asteroid belts. Earth, the third planet, appears vibrant, blue-green with distinct atmospheric patterns." Jerk leaned forward, his multifaceted eyes fixed on the main view screen, which now displayed a shimmering blue orb, swathed in white clouds, majestically orbiting its star. It was a world of breathtaking natural beauty, a stark contrast to the grim reputation that now preceded it. "Zoom to orbital periphery. Focus all available long-range scanners on the immediate vicinity of the planet and its natural satellite, Luna. Search for any residual draconian energy signatures, debris, or anomalous structures." His voice was calm, a steadying presence in the tense bridge. Vestra executed the commands with practiced ease. The sensors probed the void, analyzing every energy fluctuation, every subspace ripple. Hours passed, marked only by the gentle hum of the ship's systems and the soft click of data entry. "Negative, Commander," Vestra finally reported, her voice carrying a note of bewilderment. "No draconian signatures, no wreckage, no evidence of a major interstellar conflict. It is pristine, as if nothing happened." This was the profound mystery, the central void of understanding that had plunged the galaxy into fearful speculation. The Draconian Armada, thousands of vessels, millions of beings, advanced weaponry, all gone without a trace, and the world they had come to conquer sat there, seemingly untouched. "Maintain stealth protocols," Jerk ordered, a deep furrow appearing between his ocular clusters. "Increase scan resolution. Deploy microprobes for localized atmospheric and orbital sampling. Search for any artificial presence, however subtle. This level of pristine is itself an anomaly." As the microprobes deployed, vanishing into the planetary system's subtle energy currents, an unexpected event occurred. A faint, almost imperceptible energy signature blossomed in the void, unlike any known galactic technology. It was not a hostile energy surge, nor a weapon charge. It was a signal, precise, modulated, and directed with astonishing accuracy, not at the luminous path specifically, but at the general region of space where Jerk's fleet was cloaked. It was a subtle acknowledgement, not a challenge. "Commander, we have an incoming communication," Vestra exclaimed, her light form flickering with surprise. "It's broadband, encrypted with a complex, self-modifying cipher, but it also carries a universal translator protocol. It is initiating a direct, non-threatening hail." Jerk felt a prickle of something akin to awe. They had been detected, not through clumsy sensor sweeps, but with a nuanced understanding of their stealth technology, and the response was not an attack, but a diplomatic overture. "Open the channel, Vestra. Prepare all recording protocols. On screen." The main view screen shimmered, resolving into an image that caused a ripple of quiet astonishment on the bridge. It was a being, bipedal with soft, unarmored skin, eyes that conveyed intelligence and calm, and a countenance utterly devoid of aggression. It was a human. The being spoke, its voice modulated by the universal translator into a series of clear, resonant tones that belied its species, physical fragility. "Greetings, unidentified vessels. We extend our welcome to the Sol system. We have observed your presence for the past standard cycle and understand your purpose. We mean you no harm. My designation is Kalen, and I am authorized to speak on behalf of humanity. We offer an explanation for the disappearance of the Draconian Armada. Show. Do you seek one?" The sheer, unadulterated calm in Kalen's demeanor was a shock. There was no boast, no challenge, no thinly veiled threat. only an offer of understanding. Jerk's Zalari instincts, honed over centuries of diplomatic encounters, registered an immediate, profound shift in the cosmic landscape. This was not a species to be underestimated. "Envoy Kalen," Jerk responded, his voice measured, devoid of his inner turmoil. "I am Commander Jerk of the Zalari Accord. We represent a coalition of galactic species. Your detection of our cloaked fleet is impressive, and your offer of explanation is precisely why we are here. We request a secure, peaceful rendezvous. We seek understanding above all else." "Understood, Commander Jerk," Kalen replied, a faint, almost imperceptible smile touching the human's lips. "We will transmit coordinates to a secure, neutral orbital station within our system. It is designed for precisely this kind of first contact. You will be safe there. We look forward to our exchange." The rendezvous was a testament to humanity's understated power. The orbital station, seemingly simple in design, revealed itself upon approach to be a marvel of quiet sophistication. Its energy signatures were minimal, its structural integrity far beyond conventional alloys, and its atmospheric containment systems were capable of accommodating a vast array of alien biologies. There were no visible weapon emplacements, no bristling defenses, only a welcoming, almost serene presence in the blackness of space. Jerk, accompanied by Vestra, an Illumina science officer, stepped onto the docking bay of the human station, their xenobiological environmental suits humming softly. The air was a standard nitrogen-oxygen mix, but it carried a faint, pleasant scent, earthy and clean. A human, undoubtedly Kalen, awaited them. The human was taller than Jerk had expected, their posture relaxed yet alert, their eyes observing with a quiet intensity that spoke of deep intelligence. Two other humans, their faces equally composed, stood slightly behind Kalen. "Commander Jerk, welcome," Kalen said, their voice warm and clear. There was no handshake, no elaborate greeting ritual, merely a direct, respectful acknowledgement. "We appreciate your trust in accepting our invitation." "Envoy Kalen," Jerk replied, inclining his head slightly, a Zalari gesture of respect. "The galaxy is in profound uncertainty regarding the events in your system. We hope your explanation will shed light on this unprecedented occurrence." Kalen led them into a spacious, circular chamber designed for multi-species interaction. Comfortable seating arrangements adaptable to various physiologies were arranged around a central holographic projector. The lighting was soft, ambient, designed to reduce stress. It was a space built for dialogue, not confrontation. "Please be seated, Commander. We understand the gravity of the galactic concern. To address the disappearance of the Draconian Armada, we must first offer you a glimpse into a fundamental aspect of our existence, one that differs significantly from your own." The human then began a narrative that would forever alter the galactic understanding of power, conflict, and the very nature of advanced civilization. Kalen explained that humanity, long before mastering interstellar travel, had grappled with internal conflicts that threatened their very survival. They had developed weaponry capable of incinerating entire continents, and the existential threat of self-annihilation had forced them to confront the limitations of brute force. This crucible, Kalen explained, had led them down a path of profound philosophical and scientific introspection, culminating in a technology and a philosophy they termed harmonic displacement. The Draconian Armada, in its intent and its physical composition, represented a singular, coherent threat signature. Kalen's voice remained calm, almost academic, as images and complex schematics began to unfurl on the holographic projector. Their vessels, designed for destruction, vibrated at a specific, aggressive frequency across multiple dimensions. Their very intent, driven by conquest, amplified this signature. The schematics displayed on the projector were unlike any scientific models Jerk or Vestra had ever encountered. They showed interwoven fields of energy, not for shielding or propulsion, but for manipulating localized spacetime, for shifting matter at the quantum level with surgical precision. "Harmonic displacement is not a weapon in the conventional sense," Kalen continued. "It is a redirection, a repositioning. When the Draconian Armada entered our system with hostile intent, their cumulative aggression signature triggered our planetary defense grid, which is not designed for destruction, but for recontextualization." Jerk felt a cold dread mingled with a strange fascination. "Recontextualization?" he echoed, the concept alien to his. "Military-centric understanding." "Indeed," Kalen affirmed. Instead of meeting their aggression with an equal or greater force of destruction, which would inevitably lead to further cycles of violence, we chose to remove them from the equation entirely, without harm to their biological forms, and without the release of destructive energy into the cosmos. Their armada, every vessel, every being, was harmonically displaced. They were shunted into a localized, stable pocket dimension, one carefully constructed to sustain life and provide for their needs, but entirely isolated from the prime galactic reality. They are not dead, Commander. They are simply elsewhere. The revelation hung in the air, a truth so profound, so utterly counter to every known principle of warfare and conflict resolution, that it took Jerk and his crew a moment to process. The Draconian Armada had not been vanquished through battle. It had been rehomed. It was a form of non-lethal, non-destructive containment on a scale that defied comprehension. The ethical implications were staggering. Humanity had disarmed an empire's vanguard by simply removing it from play without a single casualty, without a single shot fired in the conventional sense. "This pocket dimension, is it sustainable?" Vestra asked, her light form flickering with a mixture of scientific curiosity and profound disbelief. "Are they aware of their displacement? Can they return?" "It is entirely sustainable," Kalen answered, a hint of something like compassion in their eyes. "It is a perfectly habitable, self-contained mini-universe designed to provide for their material and psychological needs. They are aware of their situation, though the psychological adjustment has been complex. And no, they cannot return. The interdimensional barrier is absolute, and the energy required to breach it from within is prohibitive, far beyond their technological capabilities. We do not believe in perpetual punishment, Commander, but we do believe in the absolute necessity of preventing harm." The human then offered to guide Jerk and his officers through a simulated experience of the harmonic displacement system, a conceptual walkthrough that demonstrated the complex interweaving of quantum mechanics, localized space-time manipulation, and a profound understanding of consciousness and intent. It was not a weapon, Kalen reiterated, but an act of universal self-preservation, a preemptive measure born from humanity's own painful history of conflict. The Draconians, in their arrogance and aggression, had triggered a system designed to neutralize the threat, not the life. Jerk observed the human, Kalen, with a newfound respect, bordering on awe. This was not the savage, unpredictable species the Conclave had feared. This was a civilization that had transcended the very notion of warfare as the ultimate solution. Their power was not in their ability to destroy, but in their capacity to reorder, to redefine the terms of engagement in a way that rendered conventional aggression utterly meaningless. It was a power born of ethical depth and logical precision, a philosophy forged in the crucible of self-destruction and emerging as a beacon of an entirely new path. The galaxy had feared a new, terrible weapon. It had found instead a new, terrible wisdom. The report Jerk transmitted back to the Grand Conclave sent shockwaves through the galactic community, far more profound than the initial news of the Draconian disappearance. His dispatches, filled with meticulous observations, sensor data validating humanity's claims, and direct transcriptions of Kalen's explanations, dismantled every preconceived notion held about power, security, and the proper response to aggression. Vorlag, the K-Arthar emissary, listened in stunned silence during the emergency session, his chitinous form rigid with a mix of disbelief and dawning comprehension. The proposed punitive expedition, once championed by him, now seemed utterly absurd, a relic of a primitive, destructive mindset. How could one make war against a species that simply moved you out of the way? Envoy Kalen, now formally invited to address the Grand Conclave, stood before the assembled representatives, a solitary figure amidst a multitude of diverse forms. Their presence, radiating an almost unnerving calm, immediately commanded the attention of every species. The universal translators processed their words with flawless clarity, conveying not just language, but the subtle emotional inflections that spoke of profound conviction. "Esteemed members of the Grand Conclave," Kalen began, their voice resonating with quiet authority. "We understand that our actions in the Sol system have created a profound disturbance in your collective understanding. We did not act out of malice, nor out of a desire for conquest. We acted out of a deeply held principle born from our own challenging history, that sentient life, however aggressive its immediate intent, holds an inherent value, and that the cycle of destruction, once begun, is exceedingly difficult to break." Kalen then elaborated on the philosophical underpinnings of harmonic displacement. painting a picture of a civilization that had confronted its own capacity for self-annihilation and chosen a different path. They spoke of the deep ethical responsibility that came with advanced technology, of the imperative to find solutions that transcended mere victory or defeat. The Draconian Armada, Kalen explained, was not an enemy to be annihilated, but a problem to be solved, a threat to be neutralized in a manner that preserved life and prevented further cosmic destabilization. We understand that our methods may seem unconventional, even paradoxical, to those accustomed to the calculus of conventional warfare, Kalen continued, gesturing slightly towards the holographic projections that now displayed not only the schematics of harmonic displacement, but also serene, idealized images of the pocket dimension where the Draconians now resided. But we assure you, the Draconians are safe, provided for, and capable of introspection in their new reality. They are no longer a threat to the galaxy, and they are no longer a threat to themselves. A profound, almost reverent silence fell upon the chamber as Kalen finished speaking. Ambassador Xylos felt a surge of emotion that bordered on hope. Humanity had not just presented a new technology, they had presented a new paradigm. They had demonstrated that power did not solely reside in the capacity to destroy, but in the wisdom to preserve, to adapt, to reframe conflict itself. Vorlag, after a prolonged, almost painful silence, slowly rose from his plinth. His voice, usually gruff, was tinged with a new humility. Envoy Kalen, your words, they challenge everything my people have ever believed about strength. If what you say is true, then the Draconian hegemony's approach, and by extension our own, has been fundamentally flawed. We pursued an illusion of power when true power lay in redirection. He paused, clearly wrestling with deep-seated philosophical shifts. We seek to understand this philosophy, we seek to learn. The conclave, once divided by fear and confusion, now found a nascent unity in this shared astonishment. The revelation of humanity's non-destructive power had diffused the immediate crisis, and more importantly, opened a pathway to an entirely new era of galactic diplomacy. Humanity, the silent enigma, had become the unexpected teacher. Over the ensuing cycles, deep diplomatic exchanges began. Human scientists and philosophers, invited to the conclave, began sharing the intricate details of harmonic displacement, not as a weapon, but as a complex field of study involving quantum entanglement, localized space-time geometry, and even the subtle influence of collective intent. As humanity gradually integrated into the wider galactic community, offering its unique understanding and technological advancements, a new sense of cautious optimism began to spread. The era of unchecked aggression, of empires measured solely by their destructive might, seemed to be drawing to a close. The galaxy, having witnessed the vanishing of the Draconian Armada, was ready for a different path. It was during one such interspecies scientific summit, weeks after humanity's full integration into the conclave, that the true, deeper implication of the Draconian Armada's disappearance began to unfurl. Envoy Kalen, now a familiar and respected voice within galactic discourse, was presenting a complex model of universal energy fields, a topic that humanity had been studying for millennia. The discussion was highly theoretical, touching upon exotic particles, interdimensional resonances, and the subtle background radiation of the cosmos itself. Suddenly, a Lumina scientist, whose light form had been shimmering with unusual intensity throughout Kalen's presentation, projected an urgent, complex data stream onto the central holographic display. The data was raw, unfiltered, and deeply unsettling. It was a faint, repeating pattern of energy fluctuations, buried beneath layers of cosmic noise, that had been detected across a vast, uninhabited stretch of the galactic rim. The pattern was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it carried an inherent mathematical complexity that suggested intelligence, not natural phenomena. Envoy Kalen, the Lumina's voice pulsed with a newfound urgency. This pattern, our instruments have been registering it for centuries, dismissed as random cosmic interference. But your discussion of interdimensional resonance, it has prompted a reevaluation. This pattern matches with disturbing precision the theoretical pre-trigger signature of harmonic displacement, if it were to be activated on a far, far grander scale by an external, unknown force. A collective gasp swept through the chamber. Kalen's calm demeanor did not waver, but a subtle shift and their posture indicated a heightened awareness. Indeed, Kalen affirmed, their voice taking on a deeper, more somber tone. This is what we have come to call the Great Hum. We have been monitoring this exact signature for many of our own cycles. It is not an activation signal, but rather a warning. A cosmic whisper, if you will, emanating from beyond our galaxy. Kalen then unveiled a series of ancient human charts, encoded with astronomical data that predated their own interstellar travel. These charts depicted the movement of this great hum across cosmic distances, its subtle, almost glacial shift across the voids between galaxies. It was a cyclical pattern, repeating over eons, intensifying whenever an aggressive, expansionist civilization reached a certain threshold of destructive capability. The Draconian Armada, Kalen explained, the gravity of their words settling like a heavy mantle over the assembly. In its scale, its intent, and its sheer destructive potential, inadvertently amplified a local resonance field around our star. This resonance field acts as a magnifier for the great hum, drawing its attention. Our harmonic displacement system was not merely a defense mechanism. It was also, in part, a countermeasure against this larger extragalactic phenomenon. The great hum, Kalen revealed, was not an alien invasion force. It was something far more profound and far more terrifying. It was a universal cleansing mechanism, an ancient cosmic principle made manifest, triggered by highly aggressive, expansionist civilizations that posed a significant threat to the long-term, delicate balance of the universe. It was a natural, self-correcting phenomenon, a universal immune system that eradicated localized outbreaks of destructive intent before they could metastasize. The Draconian Armada had not vanished because humanity had defeated them in battle. They had vanished because their unchecked aggression had attracted the attention of a cosmic force, and humanity, understanding this, had merely intervened to redirect that cosmic consequence, to save the Draconians from utter, irreversible annihilation. Humanity's harmonic displacement was a mimicry, a localized, benevolent application of a universal principle. The galaxy now understood. The Draconian Armada hadn't merely disappeared on Earth, they had narrowly escaped a far grander existential consequence. Humanity had not vanquished an enemy, they had saved a dangerous, misled civilization from a fate far worse than displacement, a fate imposed by the universe itself. The Draconian disappearance was merely a whisper of a much louder, much older cosmic warning. The great hum was a universal constant, a force that silently pruned the cosmic garden, removing those species whose unchecked aggression threatened the delicate balance of life itself. Humanity, through its own painful journey of self-reflection, had learned to listen to this hum, to understand its language, and to adapt. Ambassador Xylos looked around the chamber, at the stunned, awestruck faces of the representatives. The fear that had once paralyzed them had been replaced by a new kind of awe and a deep, unifying humility. Humanity, once a terrifying enigma, was now revealed as a sentinel, a guardian who had not only mastered their own destructive impulses, but had also learned to navigate the subtle, terrifying forces that govern the cosmos itself. The universe was not just a stage for empires to rise and fall. It was a living, breathing entity with its own mechanisms for balance. The Draconian Armada's vanishing act on Earth was not the end of a conflict, but the beginning of a profound cosmic understanding. It was a moment of grace, a second chance offered by humanity to a galaxy teetering on the precipice of self-destruction. The true twist was not a new enemy or a hidden artifact, but a fundamental shift in galactic consciousness, an understanding that true power lay not in dominance, but in harmony with the profound, ancient rhythms of the cosmos. The galaxy, having found its answer in humanity, now faced a new frontier, not of expansion and conquest, but of profound introspection, shared learning, and a united, watchful gaze towards the silent, humming voids between the stars. The long journey for peace, it seemed, had only just begun.